What's up, guys? It's Damp. I'm going to be doing a quick video for you all going through the basics of DayZ. For those of you who have played for a while, this isn't really for you. I'm sure you guys know all this stuff already. This is really centered around newer players and some of the things I really struggled with when I first got into the game, because I had some experience with the mod, but nothing like what would have prepared me to be better at standalone. So this is something to get your feet wet, and hopefully the first 10 to 20 hours that would make your life a little bit easier and save you some of the pain that I ran into. So I put them all in the top left so you guys can see them in case you don't want to watch through the whole video, but I'm going to go through them kind of briefly and give you a rundown on some of the stuff I struggle with. So the first thing to start, download the iZurvive app on your phone or your tablet. It'll make life a lot easier. You can also use, you can Google DayZ Standalone map, and it will give you an idea of, if you have an extra monitor or something to run. I personally really like the iZurvive app. I think it's really easy to use to navigate, and it's pretty detailed with the loot. It'll give you tips on where to find loot that you're looking for, like weapons that you're probably going to want to find. It'll allow you to navigate pretty easily to your friends using the group functionality on it. I think it's really good. It should be available on Android as well as iOS. So that's my first tip. That was something I really struggled with, was trying to navigate. So when you have the app, what you're going to do is basically type this in the search menu. So you'd start with CO, and then you put like N, and that should probably tell you the city that you're in. You're going to look for these street signs. There's also some blue signs you can find that'll point you, that typically are set up this way, that'll look this direction, that will set up, that'll allow you to kind of tell you where you're going or which cities that way. That will help you immensely. Later on, I'll kind of navigate what you can do in order to find a town if you're out in the middle of nowhere. Next thing is something that was added a few patches ago is the rock knife. So you're probably going to get some cans eventually and not know how to open them. If you look down at some of these stones down at the ground, you can have your character search for a rock, just like we just found here. So we're going to put it in our hands, and then if you see, you can mouse wheel and craft a stone knife. And this is really useful in order to get into cans and to be able to use it as a tool to open things. You can't use it for everything, but sometimes, I mean, you're already going to start off yellow hungry. Obviously, when that gets to red, you're pretty much dead. So it would allow you to get through some cans and be able to at least feed yourself, which is really important early on until you get your bearings. The next thing is you really want to try and stay near the coast when you're new. It's really easy to get lost once you get in the woods there. And without having a lot of experience or a compass or anywhere to help you navigate, it's going to be really difficult if you don't stay near the coast. So that's my recommendation, is stay near coasts or towns that will allow you to help you navigate. Again, that's pretty basic, but the first few days I was playing, I remember getting lost in the woods and just being ready to give up, because all I was doing was running for 30 and 45 minutes at a time, not finding anything. Obviously the next one's pretty basic too, but stick to low pop servers. If you have friends that play, try and find each other on a low pop server. Get some gear before you move to a high pop server. That's pretty basic, but I would say stick to the low pop servers until you really know where you're going or what you're doing. Trying to go to a high pop server right away can just really not make it a fun experience for the first little bit, because you're probably going to get killed really quickly by somebody either looking to grief or just killing fresh spawns. Stuff like that. Stick to a low pop at first until you get comfortable. Once you get to be comfortable, then you can move on to a high pop, and it'll be a little bit more fun once you know how to, melee and use your weapons, and you have a general idea of where you're going. From there, if you're lost and you're out in the middle, like I was just speaking to, if you find a set of power lines or railroad tracks, those will normally lead you to a major city if you follow them. So not necessarily a major city, but at least some civilization, so you don't end up starving to death or not being able to find your way and just getting pissed off and wanting to quit the game. Next is pretty obvious again. Don't trust anyone when you first go to those high pop servers, especially if you're a fresh spawn. Most people are going to want to fuck with you, and that's it. They're not going to want to help you. It's very, very rare to find people who are friendly in the game. Exhibit A. I'm getting shot at right now. And this is actually a lower pop server. So that should kind of tell you, really don't want to mess around with trying to negotiate with people. Just don't trust anybody. you're probably going to be better off that way until you find your friends. Next is eventually, at some point, you're going to break your legs, and it's going to be a bad day for you. What I recommend doing if you break your legs is you can try to crawl similar to how you had stones over here on the coast. Near some of the forest areas, you can look down, or sometimes underneath trees, and you can actually find sticks. Those sticks plus your torn shirt will allow you to make a splint, which will allow you to repair your broken legs, which will be a lifesaver. Because if your legs are broken, the first thing you should do is go to a high pop and try and find somebody to kill you. Odds are they're probably just going to fuck with you, though. So the best thing you can do is try to move to an area where they have sticks on the ground, like you see the stones there. I'll go over these woods and see if we can find them for you, but that's where you really want to start. It's going to happen eventually, and you're going to be miserable. It's going to take you an hour to get anywhere. So be careful when you're walking around when you first start. Try not to get your legs broken. If you're going to try and commit suicide, make sure you're high enough up. There's nothing worse than not being high enough or falling to a short ledge rather than the whole way when you're trying to kill yourself. So that's another tip that could have saved me about 3 hours of my life that I wish I had one day. Next is subscribe to Wobo. He's a major senpai of the DayZ world. He is awesome. His videos are fantastic for learning about the game. He does a lot of theory crafting and testing. Subscribe to him. He'll help a lot. My channel won't focus on how in-depth he can go. My stuff that I'm going to make from here on out is really centered around basics for newer players. But he's awesome. I'll give you a link to the description in the channel. And same thing for the iZurvive lab. And kind of the next two are pretty quick. You're going to want to find a backpack for sure. This guy's going to shoot me. You're going to want to find a backpack for sure. And if you can find burlap and rope, you can combine the two in order to make a backpack. But backpacks are pretty plentiful now, but you obviously want to prioritize that. Try and find one as soon as possible. And carbs are power food. So if you are looking to try to feed yourself, anything that's a carbohydrate is going to be really overpowered. Just make sure you have some water, or you're going to be near a well, because that will kind of dehydrate you. But rice and cereal are awesome, and so is powdered milk. So those are really the last two tips. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to go get killed here real quick. And thank you for watching very much. Keep an eye out for wells. That's a free pass to be able to drink pretty easily, and then you don't have to carry stuff around. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna go get RIP'd here, and thanks for watching. See ya.
I have nothing in my hand.